Did you know that Mama, one of the most beloved characters in television history, exists because a 17-year-old girl mailed a fan letter to Carol Burnett? That one envelope changed everything, and 59 years later, she is still performing as Mama on stages across America. But that is far from the most surprising thing when you look at this cast in 2026. Today we are catching up with the entire cast of Mama's Family, and we are starting right now with the legendary Betty White. No filler, no making you wait until the end. But first, tell me, who were you sitting next to on that couch when Mama first walked through her front door? Was it your mum? Your grandma? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. All right, let us begin. We begin with a woman who spent over 8 decades making America laugh. Betty White joined Mama's Family in 1983 as Ellen Harper Jackson, Mama's scheming, conniving daughter. She was already 61 and already a legend. Before Mama's Family, she had won an Emmy Award on The Mary Tyler Moore Show for playing the deliciously devious Sue Ann Nivens. After Mama's Family, she stepped into the role that would define her for all time, Rose Nyland, on The Golden Girls. And what most people do not realize is this: Betty was originally offered the role of Blanche, the man-crazy Southern belle. Rue McClanahan was supposed to play sweet, naive Rose, but the producers had cast them based on their most famous previous roles: White as the man-hungry Sue Ann on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, and McClanahan as the sweet, scatterbrained Vivian on Maude. The pilot director saw what no one else had seen, and on the first day of rehearsal, he asked them to switch. That single decision reshaped an entire decade of television. In 2010, at 88, Betty became the oldest person ever to host Saturday Night Live, after fans on Facebook campaigned to get her on. And she once turned down a role in the 1997 film As Good as It Gets, because the script had a scene where a dog was thrown down a laundry chute. She refused. Animals always came first. Betty White stepped away from this world on December 31st, 2021. She was 99 years old, just 17 days before her 100th birthday. Her career spanned more than 8 decades. There will never be another. And she was not the only future golden girl hiding inside Mama's house. Rue McClanahan played Aunt Fran Crowley, Mama's prim, judgmental younger sister. For the first 2 seasons on NBC, when the network cancelled the show in 1984, her character was written out. But that cancellation turned out to be the luckiest break of her career. 1 year later, she landed the role of Blanche Devereaux on The Golden Girls and won the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy in 1987. Now, her birth name was Eddie Rue, combining her father's middle name Edwin and her mother's middle name Rua. She dropped Eddie for good after the military once sent her a conscription notice, thinking she was a man. In 2005, at 71, she stepped onto Broadway as Madame Morrible in Wicked. And Golden Girls fans treasure this detail. Rue kept every outfit she wore on that show, every dress, every blouse, and wore them as her everyday clothes in real life. We said goodbye to Rue McClanahan on June 3rd, 2010. She was 76. 2 Golden Girls. 2 women who helped build Mama's world. Both of them started right here, coming up. One of the youngest cast members left Hollywood, completely earned degrees from 2 of America's most prestigious universities, and ended up working for the United States Congress. Stay with me. Not every cast member stayed in the spotlight, but what some of them did after the cameras stopped is just as fascinating. Karen Argood played Sonia Harper, Vinton's teenage daughter, for 28 episodes across the first 2 seasons. When the show moved to syndication in 1986, Sonia was quietly written out. The show simply said she had gone off to college. After Hollywood, Karen stepped behind the camera. She directed a short documentary called Top Row in 2017, and her last screen appearance came in the 2019 short film The Sound of the Mountain. Today, at 65, she has built a life far from the spotlight. A quiet reinvention many child actors only dream of. And remember what I promised. One cast member traded Hollywood for something no one saw coming. Eric Brown played Vinton Buzz Harper Jr., Sonia's spirited younger brother, for 31 episodes. He got his very first role at age 10 in the 1974 TV movie The Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. But after Mama's Family, Eric walked away from acting completely. He enrolled at UC Berkeley, graduated Phi Beta Kappa in political science, then earned a master's degree at Stanford. He became press secretary and speechwriter for Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, then served as communications director for the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation. Today, he runs his own firm, Brownbridge Strategies, from Buzz Harper to the halls of Congress. But do not go anywhere. The next two cast members built something just as surprising in completely different directions. If you watched Mama's Family during the syndication years, you know this next face. She walked through Mama's back door and never really left. Beverly Archer joined the cast in 1986 as Iola Boylan, Mama's prim, impossibly polite next-door neighbor. She became one of the most beloved characters of the entire run, and she based Iola's accent entirely on Vicki Lawrence's own speaking voice. She even wrote an episode of the show. After Mama's Family, Beverly landed her second signature role, Gunnery Sergeant Alva Bricker on Major Dad from 1989 to 1993. She retired from acting in 2002 and turned to an unexpected passion, clay art, and traveling with a particular love for Florence, Italy. And one small detail that ties this cast together. Beverly was born in Oak Park, Illinois, the exact same hometown as Betty White. Two women from the same small town, both ending up on Mama's front porch. Today, at 77, she has been married to Robert Bernard since 1976. 50 years and counting. Next, the face that launched 1,000 fan letters in the late 80s, Allan Kayser joined Mama's Family in 1986 as Bubba Higgins, Mama's lovable, dim-witted grandson fresh out of reform school. 95 episodes, an overnight teen idol. Before landing the role, Allan gave himself exactly 2 years to make it in Hollywood. He had just graduated from Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado, 1982, the same school where the tragic events of 1999 would later unfold. He drove to Los Angeles, and almost to the day 2 years later, he was cast on Mama's Family. That same year, he appeared in the cult horror classic Night of the Creeps. But what happened after the show is the part no one expected. Allan stepped away from acting. He worked at a Harley-Davidson dealership for 8 years. When twins were on the way, he needed steady income, so he became a mail carrier for the United States Postal Service in Missouri. In an interview, he said with a laugh, "People do not believe I was on TV in the 80s because now I live in Missouri." Today, Allan Kayser is 62, married to Sarah Kayser, and a father of 4. Seeing Bubba again brings back so many memories, doesn't it? Let me know down below. How many of you had a little crush on Bubba Higgins back in the day? Or maybe it was someone else on this show. Do not be shy. Confess in the comments. Alright, we are getting close to number 1 now. This next woman was the only cast member besides Vicki Lawrence to appear in all 6 seasons of Mama's Family, all 130 episodes. Dorothy Lyman played Naomi Oates Harper, Vinton's loud, brassy, unapologetically bold wife, and she was magnetic in every scene. Before Mama's Family, Dorothy was a daytime television powerhouse. She played Opal Sue Gardner on All My Children and won back-to-back Daytime Emmy Awards in 1982 and 83. Carol Burnett and Vicki Lawrence were both huge fans of her Opal. It was Burnett herself who suggested Dorothy for the role of Naomi. And during that first season, Dorothy did something extraordinary. She flew from Los Angeles to New York City every week, filming Mama's Family on one coast and All My Children on the other. She later joked about it, calling that period All My Paychecks. But the most extraordinary Hollywood connection in Dorothy's life is her daughter. Emma Tillinger Koskoff grew up to become Martin Scorsese's right-hand producer, behind The Wolf of Wall Street, The Irishman, Joker, and Killers of the Flower Moon. 3 Academy Award nominations for Best Picture. From mama's daughter-in-law to a mother whose child produces for Scorsese. Today, Dorothy is 79 and still creating. In 2024, she performed a solo show called Violet and Me, a Monologue. In 2025, her play Upstate premiered at TheatreWorks New Milford. We are down to the final 2. Up next, a song and dance man whose career began with a tap dance routine in front of a United States Army sergeant you definitely know by another name. That Army sergeant. His name was Leonard Nimoy. Long before he became Mr. Spock on Star Trek, Nimoy was a sergeant in the United States Army. Nimoy was Berry's sergeant in the Special Services Corps, the unit that entertained troops across the country. Berry won the All-Army Talent Competition with a tap dance routine, and that win put him on Ed Sullivan's Toast of the Town. That young soldier was Kenneth Ronald Berry. That moment opened every door. Berry landed a spot on Ed Sullivan's Toast of the Town. He made it to Broadway, and then came the role he loved more than anything. Captain Wilton Parmenter on F Troop from 1965 to 67. He once said, "I have never been that happy in my life. I walked on air for a long time." After F Troop came Mayberry Arefti, and then in 1983, he became the man we all remember. Vinton Harper, Mama's clumsy, good-hearted son. 130 episodes. A rubber-legged song and dance man who could make you laugh just by walking through a door. Ken Berry took his final bow on December 1st, 2018. He was 85. His partner of 24 years, Susie Walsh, was by his side. From a tap-dancing soldier to Mama's favorite son, not a bad life for a kid from Moline. And now, the woman you have been waiting for, the heart and soul of this show, number 1. Vicki Ann Axelrad was born on March 26, 1949 in Inglewood, California, a cheerleader, a singer, a teenager with a dream. In 1967, at 18 years old, she joined the cast of The Carol Burnett Show. She stayed for all 11 seasons, learning sketch comedy from the best alongside Harvey Korman and Tim Conway. She won an Emmy in 1976, and somewhere in the mid-70s, inside a recurring sketch called The Family, a sharp-tongued Southern matriarch named Thelma Harper was born. The audience fell in love with her, and Mama never left. But Vicki Lawrence was not just a comedian. In 1973, she recorded The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, a Southern murder ballad written by her first husband, Bobby Russell. The song was offered to Cher, but Sonny Bono turned it down on her behalf. He was afraid it would offend Cher's Southern fans. Cher did not even know she had been offered the song until years later. So Vicki walked into the studio and recorded it herself. It went straight to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and Carol Burnett presented her the gold record live on the show. And then there was Al. Al Schultz was the head makeup artist on The Carol Burnett Show. He had worked with Marilyn Monroe and Doris Day. He was the youngest person ever named head of West Coast CBS makeup at just 30. And Carol Burnett introduced him to Vicki. They married in 1974. Vicki said simply, "Carol found my husband for me." Al Schultz passed away on June 19, 2024. He was 82. They were months away from their 50th anniversary. But Vicki did what she has always done. She got back up. In 2025, she reunited with Carol Burnett on screen in Palm Royale on Apple TV+. In 2026, she is still on the road, performing Vicki and Mama, a two-woman show, with her son Garrett as tour manager. Over 20 confirmed dates this year. She is 77 years old, 59 years of performing, and Mama is still here. And it all started with one envelope. A teenage girl from Inglewood saw a newspaper article that said she looked like Carol Burnett. She cut it out, tucked it into a fan letter, and dropped it in the mail. Carol read that letter. She came to the girl's beauty pageant. She crowned her the winner, and she gave her a job. That girl was Vicki Lawrence. And that envelope created Mama. Before we go, let us take a quiet moment for the members of this family who are no longer sitting around that table. Rue McClanahan, our Aunt Fran. She was 48 when she first walked into Mama's house. She stepped away in 2010 at 76. She gave us Blanche. She gave us laughter, and she never threw away a single dress. Ken Berry, our Vinton. He was 49 when he became Mama's son. He took his final bow in 2018 at 85. A dancer, a clown, a man who walked on air and never stopped smiling. Betty White, our Ellen. She was 61 when she joined this family. The world said goodbye on the very last day of 2021. She was 99, 17 days from 100. 8 decades of making us laugh. There will never be another. They are missed. They are remembered. And they are loved. Time moves so fast. One day you are sitting at the kitchen table, dinner is cooking, the TV is on in the next room, and Mama's voice comes floating through the house. Your mom laughs, your grandma shakes her head, and for that one moment, everything is exactly the way it should be. Those moments are gone now, but they are not lost. You carry them. Every time you hear that theme song, every time someone reminds you of Mama, every time you laugh the way your mother used to laugh. So let me ask you this. Which story from today stayed with you the most? Was it Bubba delivering mail in Missouri? Buzz Harper in the halls of Congress? Dorothy's daughter producing movies for Scorsese? And if you could sit down with one person from this list, just for 5 minutes over a cup of coffee, who would it be? And what would you say to them? Tell me in the comments. I read all of them. Thank you for watching. Thank you for remembering. And if this brought back even one good memory, share it with someone who grew up watching Mama too. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss another walk down memory lane. Take care of each other. I will see you in the next one.